Well, there's still intense pressure on the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, to act against the Health Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize. The Special Investigating Unit has detailed in court papers how they believe he pressurized the Health Director General to sign the contract with Digital Vibes. Digital Vibes is run by his former personal assistant, Ramaphosa. Mkhize has been on special leave for some time. There have also been divisions in Cabinet Security Cluster. The Police Minister, Cyril, and the State Security Minister, Inaction, have disagreed with each other in public over a response to the violence of 3 weeks ago. We're going to have a conversation about this in a moment with Professor Sethulego Matebesi. You'll know he, of course, is a political analyst at the University of the Free State. Professor, good afternoon to you, and thank you for your time. The SIU says the evidence against Zweli Mkhize is strong. Are you expecting the President to finally act against him?
Hi, good afternoon, Stephen, and good afternoon to South Africans. The President does not have a choice. I mean, there should have been a cabinet reshuffle a long time ago, not necessarily about the Minister of Health, but remember we had Jackson and Tembu passed on, may his soul rest in peace, and what you have also saw the performance of some of the other ministers from the security cluster. But that on its own, I don't think the President would have acted upon that. But when you come to the SIU report, damning findings, which the President unfortunately cannot sidestep, it cannot make a political decision, and sometimes a political decision is to ask the implicated party to take time off. Yeah, the President needs to take strong action, and the strongest action that he can take, it is to ask the minister to step aside or step down.
The SIU has confirmed that it gave its report to the President at the end of June, so the beginning of July, so let's just say for argument's sake that's a month ago. They've confirmed that what's in the court papers, which is what became public last week, and I'm talking about the details around the way that the minister was putting pressure on people, on the way that his own family, it seems, benefited from this contract. All of that, the SIU has confirmed, was in the report. So what I'm saying is, it means the President has known for a month what we know now. So the question, I suppose, then, is why is it taking so long?
Well, it's easy for us to say the President, and I'm also one of those who've always complained about the time that our presidents take when they have to make decisions in the interest of the country. But I think he had to take some calculated risk. Although we will say let politicking intra-ANC battles be put aside, but the President is a politician. And whether we like it or not, this is what always happens, where political considerations seems to get precedence over the interest, decisions that will advance the interest of South Africans. The future of the President, if he does have ambitions of a second term, depends on how he is going to handle this issue. But fact of the matter is he has to make a decision about Zweli Mkhize. And I think this also provides him an opportunity perhaps to reshuffle in other positions. But coming back to your question about the time that a president takes, and this has been the tendency of our current president, political posturing and all that, but perhaps he needs much more time to reflect on, but I don't think he has much time because he had to act on the report, because I don't also think this sends the right message that he is a president that deals head on with matters of such severity and a sensitivity towards South African citizens.
We also have the disagreements in the security cluster of government, and I'm talking about the State Security Minister, Inaction. She says that she sent a report to the Police Minister before the violence. The Police Minister, Cyril, denies that. They've both gone on the record. There's the Minister of Defence as well, Nosiviwe Mkhize. What's interesting about this, to my mind, and what might make the situation different from other reshuffles, is normally reshuffles are because the President wants to reshuffle, has the legal right to reshuffle under the Constitution, or for political reasons within their political party, they reshuffle. Here, I don't know if this has happened in our country before, here I've never seen so much public pressure for a reshuffle. People are angry at the violence. They're angry at the perceived corruption or the alleged corruption against the health minister. Does that make this different from what we've seen in the past, that people are so angry?
No, it makes, and I think it's also a huge confidence in perhaps in the leadership of President Cyril Ramaphosa, because he himself went up the mountain and say he's going to fight corruption head on. And I think South Africans are expecting him now not only to take over the baton from, some of our former leaders like Nelson Mandela, but he now had to act decisively, and I think the pressure comes on what we have seen in South Africa. I mean, more than 25 years of democracy, you still have ministers from one cluster talking all over one another, and that for me is indicative that we don't have strategies to deal with the security situation in South Africa, and that's why South Africans today are spending thousands and thousands of rand to protect themselves in their households. And that, for me, is symptoms, and it's actually characteristics of a failed state where the state cannot protect its citizens. And that's why I strongly believe that there is strong pressure from the public because of the promise that President Cyril Ramaphosa has made that he will definitely act differently from, unlike our former president.
Professor, is there another situation which could develop, which is that in the face of this public anger, if President Ramaphosa does not act against Mkhize, against ministers in the security cluster, could he actually look weak? Could that actually make his position weaker in an interesting and important way?
No, well, the president already looks weaker, but although one should actually encourage South Africans to be patient, because the president will make, whether he does not have a choice, he will make a pronouncement on Mkhize. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the reshuffling, because remember, you also have an acting minister in the presidency. So, but with Mkhize, for me, it's a forthright decision. The president cannot dally around that. That will hugely dent the trust that the people have in the presidency, the trust that the people have in the African National Congress, because here we've got a president who publicly have actually at least indicated he meant business when it comes to corruption. And I think this will put us several steps backward if he is not going to act at least against Minister Zweli Mkhize.
Professor Sethulego Matebesi, political analyst at the University of the Free State. Prof, as always, I really do appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed on Newsfeed this afternoon. I don't think that's the last conversation you're going to hear this week or next around what is happening in our cabinet at the moment. Well,